Are we still the all-new Inside Source?
I know. I
Seems
wonder
we've
how
been
long
around a
you
little
have
bit.
to go.
Yeah, maybe for our rookie
I do
season,
wonder.
we'll continue to do that. Well, Holly, we're learning that a projected 70.6% of Utah jobs will require some level of post-secondary, I guess post-high school education by 2031. That's only 5 years from now. And this is according to a new report from the KC Gardner Policy Institute and commissioned by Envision Utah.
Yeah, as you mentioned, post-secondary education can mean any formal education after high school. So it can be a trade school, it can be certificates, it can be associate degrees, bachelor's degrees, etc. So we have with us in studio Jason Brown, the CEO of Envision Utah, to first of all tell us a little bit about Envision Utah and why you're looking at this space, and then we'll talk about your findings.
Yeah, well, Envision Utah is a nonprofit focused on bringing people together to try and solve the big challenges that come as we look to the future. Education is obviously something that's really, really important to quality of life in the future. And over the last while, both in the state and around the country, there's been a lot of dialogue and questions around higher education, where people are wondering what is really the value of higher education as we look to the future. And so we wanted to get some good economic data behind an understanding of what really is the value of higher education in the future in Utah. And so we worked with the KC Gardner Policy Institute to help us answer, for individuals and for families and also for the state, what really is the value of higher education going to be long term.
And right now, I think what you told us on break before we started was about 60% of jobs require some level of post-high school education, but that's going to increase to 70%. Is that what I understood?
Yeah, it is definitely increasing as years go by. I don't remember the exact percentage now, somewhere between 60, 65 maybe. But yeah, the best economic data we have suggests that in the early 2030s, we're going to have about 70% of jobs in Utah are going to require some sort of post-secondary education or higher education.
So we had been talking on this show before about the dearth of people who are in the trades who are willing to take on those kind of jobs, and that was going to be the future. You know what I mean? That and maybe trade school is post-secondary education. I don't know how that fits in, but how does it fit in?
Yeah, that's a great question. We are looking at higher education or post-secondary education being inclusive of trades. So most trades you're not ready to enter right after high school. So we are talking about what are considered trade jobs as well.
So let me ask you this: so I feel like 2031 is really just around the corner. That doesn't feel like very far away from me. I mean, from here now. So if you're looking at getting an increase from in the 60% to almost 71%, what has to happen between now and then?
That's a great question. Well, we do pretty well in Utah. We churn out a lot of degrees every year. We're ranked third in the nation in terms of adults who have education beyond high school. So we do a good job. We're on track in one sense, but there's obviously more to be done there. And so the more people that we can get to start pursuing higher education after high school, and one of, I guess, the big reasons we wanted to do this, again, like I mentioned, there's some people questioning, and we wanted to see, like, well, is that good? Should we be questioning this? And economic data suggests that we should be continuing to push people to higher ed. We should be continuing to tell our high school students that, hey, this is a great path to be able, for yourself, to be able to get a good job. And also it's important for our state and our economy as a whole to have a lot of people who are pursuing higher ed. So for us, I think one of the real takeaways is that we need to continue to talk about the value of higher education.
So Jason, this may be an unfair question because I'm thinking about the sort of the dynamics of the survey itself. How was it determined? I mean, were there employers interviewed? Were the economists interviewed? How do we know that this change is going to occur in the next 5 years?
Yeah, well, this was research done, or that the great people at the KC Gardner Policy Institute looked at our economic data. That's a lot of it's coming from the Department of Workforce Services, and also looking at data coming out of the actual higher ed institutions. And they looked at what is generally thought of as like the minimum requirements for jobs in different industries. So what are employers looking for and reporting to the Department of Workforce Services as the minimum education levels that they are looking for? So this is, in a way, coming from employers, from the job providers, asking them, hey, what do you need to have people filling these roles?
So part of the study that I noticed is that it pointed out that there are uneven educational outcomes right now. Can you address that just a little bit? What are we seeing there?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So we do have some disparities where we see white students and our Latino students have differing rates of both high school graduation and pursuing higher education and getting degrees or credentials from higher education. And one of the strategies that we can look at as a state is, well, if we simply close those gaps, that is, help more of our Latino students, for example, pursue higher education, we're going to close the gap a little bit more in terms of how many degrees or how much higher education we need in the economy overall. So it's not necessarily that we need to if we look at every different subgroup or different subpopulation, like not all of them need to increase their higher ed attainment, but if we can find ways to increase higher ed attainment among some people, that's going to help us get to where we need to be overall as a state.
Do you think that our colleges and universities and trade schools are up to it? I mean, is this something that they need to step up their game? Or, I mean, how would you address colleges and universities right now if you were speaking to them about this report?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Unfair question, but you're here.
Yeah. So I know that our higher ed institutions have, over the last year, been undergoing a really intensive process to do some reallocation to make sure that they are focusing their funding on degrees and programs that lead to good jobs. And they seem to have met that challenge really well. And as I've talked to and heard from higher ed institutions, they feel like this is attainable. They feel like that they can do this. They are we have a great system of higher education. We have really terrific institutions, and they are generally all working on figuring out, all right, how do we do this? How do we get there? So to editorialize a little bit, my perspective is, I think that we have the institutions that can do it. They're working towards this.
So just in the last few seconds that we have, can you remind our listeners some of the advantages of post-secondary education?
That's a great question. So one of the big things that we saw is when you look at the good jobs in the economy, so jobs that have high employment levels, pretty good wages, things like that, also 70% of those jobs, so we have 70% and 70%, but 70% of those jobs require post-secondary education. So on an individual and family level, higher education is definitely a key to good jobs, but we also see higher health outcomes. We see even higher levels of reported happiness and decreased stress by those who have higher education. So it's not just about the economic benefits. There's definitely a lot of personal and societal benefits as well.
Thank you so much for joining us. That's Jason Brown, CEO of Envision Utah, and this new study.